Welcome. Welcome and thank you for coming out. We are here today to announce the City of East Cleveland collaboration with the Ohio State Highway Patrol. First, I will have a few remarks. Then I will bring up the State Highway Patrol to have a few words, and we will end with questions and answers. Before I get into the specifics of this partnership, I would like to thank a few of our current partners, Cuyahoga County, in particular, Prosecutor O'Malley and his office for all of the resources that they've put in assisting this city in ridding itself of bad officers, of officers who go afoul of the law. I would also like to acknowledge our new chief, Brian Gerhard, who was born and raised in this great city, is a 27-year veteran of the police department and has a spotless record. Chief Gerhard is tasked with rebuilding our ranks and restoring trust in the public. I would also like to thank the state of Ohio. Governor DeWine. Governor DeWine has been a great friend to the city of East Cleveland. And he has been providing resources to the city over the past 5 years. Resources around safety and the success of this city. From traffic control lights, to technical assistance, to funding for our economic development. And as the governor recognized the challenges ahead of us in regards to public safety, he asked Director Andy Wilson of the Ohio Department of Public Safety to reach out to my office to offer assistance via the State Highway Patrol. On Thursday, March 16th, my office met with the Ohio State Highway Patrol officials to formulate a strategy that will allow their patrol officers to assist East Cleveland Police. Now, the primary function of the Highway Patrol is to ensure Ohio roadways are safe. This collaboration will allow them to perform this primary function right here in the city of East Cleveland. They will assist our officers with traffic safety and will provide a physical presence on our roads. There is no expectation of them responding to 911 calls. East Cleveland Police are fully capable and able to solely manage that function. Let me repeat. East Cleveland Police are capable to solely manage responding to 911 calls. As a side note, even through these turbulent times, thanks to our new chief and the police department, we have managed to bring in new officers, some of whom began working for the city last week. I would like to reiterate, the Ohio State Highway Patrol will only assist us with traffic safety. They will not respond to 911 calls. Residents and motorists traveling throughout East Cleveland can expect to see the Ohio State Highway Patrol vehicles on our city streets on any given day at any given time. And in 45 days, we will reassess the need and the level of assistance while we continue to make progress rebuilding the ranks in our police department. Again, I would like to thank Governor DeWine, County Executive Chris Ronayne, our County Councilwoman Cheryl Stevens, County Prosecutor O'Malley, the Ohio Department of Public Safety Director Andy Wilson, and the Ohio State Highway Patrol. I would now like to bring in Sergeant Santiago of the Ohio State Highway Patrol for a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for being here. The city of East Cleveland, the East Cleveland Police Department, and the Ohio State Highway Patrol are in fact collaborating to improve traffic safety throughout the city. Since 2020, there have been 643 crashes throughout the city. Of those, 201 were injury crashes. 32 of those resulted in serious injury or death. During that time, 43 individuals were injured or killed, and nearly 60% of them were not wearing an available safety belt. So to combat these issues, the patrol will assist by conducting increased patrols and targeted enforcement starting today through at least May 1st. This initiative will be data-driven and focus on crash-causing violations in areas identified statistically as showing the highest number of crashes. Forgive me. The patrol will utilize troopers assigned to our Cleveland post, as well as from units from throughout the Cleveland district. Units assigned to our Office of Criminal Investigations will also be utilized in instances where additional investigative services are needed. As the mayor said, the residents can expect to see increased presence of troopers on any given day, at any given time, providing meaningful traffic safety enforcement. This collaboration is the latest initiative that is coordinated in partnership with the governor's office. In recent years, Governor DeWine has directed the Ohio State Highway Patrol and the Ohio Department of Public Safety to provide resources to local agencies for these types of multi-agency operations upon request by local officials. Similar initiatives have throughout the state have proven to be effective because of the teamwork, the coordinated mutual efforts and support between the patrol and the collaborating agencies. So again, through these collaborations, everyone can collectively focus on our shared mission of improving traffic safety and keeping our communities safe. Mr. Ray?
Excellent. So now we'll take any questions, comments you may have.
Can you provide an example of where these increased patrols will be, or will it be everywhere? Is it like certain intersections?
So what we have is during that process of planning, areas such as US 20 and Euclid Avenue, US 6 and Superior and Noble Avenue, some of those areas where our statistical analysis unit was able to look at some of that data to see exactly where they were seeing a high concentration of crashes. Those aren't going to be the only areas that we obviously are patrolling. A lot of that is going to depend on the type of crash-causing violation that we're trying to have an effect on. Some of the times, if we're looking for impaired driving, that may require us to do things at different times of the day. So a lot of that, like I said before, is going to be data-driven. And through this collaboration, we're able to look at those things collectively to see exactly what our operational necessities are going to be so we can put resources in to be most effective.
Yes.
And now, will this include pulling people over when you're at these hot spots? What exactly are you guys doing? Are you writing down information, getting pictures? What exactly, when you say improving and seeing increased patrol, what are you doing so people can know?
So what we're going to be doing is obviously trying to have a positive effect on those numbers that we spoke of earlier, those injury and fatal crashes, trying to decrease those. So when we look at some of those crash-causing contributing factors, such as impaired driving, unsafe speeds, and the utilization of safety belts, those are all things that we're going to try to have an effect on. So looking at crash-causing violations is going to be the primary goal. It's not just going out there to make meaningless traffic stops. We're trying to have an impact onto public safety.
Excellent.
Mayor,
Yes.
why is the help of OHP needed in the city?
Why is it needed? It is welcome, as this city, as you know, over the years has lost a considerable amount of population, right? Which leads to resources, right? And given the assistance from the county prosecutor in helping our new chief rid the department of those who violate the law, right? Bringing in roadway safety, right, will allow our police officers to do what they do best, and that is respond to 911 calls, as we're hearing now, right, as they continue to recruit and bring in new officers.
So it's a staffing issue. Your guys, ladies and guys, need to respond to 911, and a lot of times responding to those emergency calls, the traffic falls by the wayside.
I wouldn't necessarily say falls by the wayside, but it could use a boost, if you will.
How many officers were just brought in, and Sergeant, how many state troopers are going to be patrolling, and how, like, are you back to staffing levels before the incident, before everything happened?
I'll let the chief.
We just hired 3 new officers last Monday. We have enough people on the road right now to cover all the calls for service.
And Sergeant, how many?
The amount of troopers is going to depend on exactly what it is we're trying to affect that day or any given time. So there may be times where we have a larger saturation present if we're doing something like impaired driving, enforcement. If we're doing something that's more speed enforcement or looking at other crash causing violations that might not require the same amount of manpower. Again, a lot of that's going to be data driven and looking at what the operational needs and necessities are along with the East Cleveland Police Department.
Are you handling this like mutual aid where you take direction from East Cleveland Police? Or are you guys your own entity doing just your job?
We're handling this as a collaboration. So everything we do is going to be in concert with the East Cleveland Police Department and making sure that when we are out there, we're mutually aware of what exactly we're going out and doing. Ultimately, that's affecting traffic safety. We are going to be guided by our own policies and procedures as far as things such as pursuits and responses to resistance. However, everything is done in concert, and this truly is a collaboration just to try to improve traffic safety and make the community safer.
So do you write citations as a Ohio State Trooper or as
Yes.
a East Cleveland Police Officer?
We are going to be writing citations as Ohio State Troopers, but hopefully we'll be giving more warnings and just positive interactions as such.
Yes.
In talking about traffic safety, Chief, a recent pursuit outside of city limits left a baby paralyzed.
Okay.
Are you all going to be reevaluating your pursuit policies?
The pursuit policy has been reevaluated when I took over in August. The incident you're speaking of was not a police pursuit. We did not initiate that. We were called by a citizen that he got hit by this driver first. We merely got behind the car. He refused to stop. He didn't, as a matter of fact, when the officers talked to him, he didn't realize we were in behind him. That's what he said on the scene.
Because you were outside of city limits, so that's not considered a pursuit if you're outside of your city behind another vehicle?
No, if they follow another vehicle, it's not a pursuit. It's a pursuit if they're chasing the car, but they weren't actively trying to chase this guy. We did not initiate that traffic stop. We tried to get him to pull over because he just hit somebody.
Chief, how many officers do you guys have now?
About 30.
And Sergeant, when you make a traffic stop, sometimes that leads to more than just a traffic citation. So is it twofold, the traffic as well as trying to help control crime?
Absolutely. I think ultimately every traffic stop, could potentially lead to something either more criminal or something that's more humane where you're just trying to get someone through a difficult situation.
Right.
Our troopers are very good at looking beyond those stops to try to find out what the root cause of a situation, can be, or if there's an additional criminal element in place. So being able to effectively do that is going to be obviously our primary goal in trying to, again, improve traffic safety, make the community safer, and assist our partners at the East Cleveland Police Department.
So Sergeant, will there be people here 24/7? Or is it just like are you just taking certain hours, like during the day? How's that working?
So part of the planning was looking at looking at crash data, days of the week, hours where we were seeing a higher concentration of crashes, and then again looking at what contributing circumstance we're trying to affect. So we're not going to be a total presence here 24/7, 7 days a week. We were looking at some of those things operationally as they were necessitated. So you'll see us at any given date, at any given time.
Yes.
We do have some specifics on that we just can't give out, but ultimately it's going to be impactful in not just assisting the East Cleveland Police Department, but in making everyone here feel safe. It's all about, the residents here deserve the same amount and quality, resources and services provided to them. That's what we're here to do, and hopefully they feel that impact in a relatively short period of time.
So just to clarify for both the sergeant and the chief, are you all pursuing vehicles outside of city limits under this new collaboration, or what is the current policy?
I can speak for the Highway Patrol. We are going to be guided by our own policies and procedures, as I said earlier. At the heart of that policy and procedure is always going to be, do we create an undue risk to the public and to our officers by risking that apprehension? Is it necessary? So at times our policy is pretty strict. It's pretty stringent, and you'll see our troopers do a great job at adhering to that. We do a great job of being transparent in those efforts also. When we get records requests or requests for dash cam, those things come out relatively quick because we know we're guided by very strict guidelines. We adhere to them fairly well, and we're going to continue to do so whether we're in East Cleveland or anywhere else in the state.
So that information comes from the Ohio State Patrol or from East Cleveland Police?
Each agency is going to be guided by their own policies and procedures. So troopers we're still going to operate by our own policies and procedures as they pertain to any of our operations.
Would you agree traffic stops is a good way to get guns off the streets and people with warrants off the streets?
Traffic stops are a great way to do a number of things. Getting guns and removing drugs, absolutely. It's also a great way to simply interact with folks, to try to change behaviors and getting people to be more safe when they're behind the wheel. You'll find at times that there are people going through various other life situations that a trooper, may find themselves, assisting with that they didn't necessarily think they were going to that day. So a traffic stop, or each one of those is basically an opportunity. Whether that impact is removing a criminal or assisting someone through a life circumstance, whatever it is, that's what we're looking to do.
Okay. I think it's worth reiterating on our side that with the new body cams we bought in last year, it allows for officers to have less interaction with the camera. Cameras have functionality where they cut on automatically, right? And our partners over at the county are tied into the cameras. They have direct access.
They have direct access to our body cam system, yes.
So the county, you mean the sheriff?
County Prosecutor Office.
Okay, no more further questions. I'd like to thank you all. Thank Sergeant and Ohio State Highway Patrol. I want to appreciate this collaboration and look forward to great things.
Absolutely.
Also, I'd like to announce today we are starting the Shot Spotter program here in East Cleveland. That'll allow our officers to quickly respond to shots fired calls without waiting on somebody from the public to call us. We're going to go live at 3 o'clock today.
Can you explain that system?
What it is we have sensors mounted throughout the city. I'm not going to give the locations. Shots fired, it's going to be within meters of where it's at. Officers are going to have access in their cruiser. Dispatch is going to have access. They'll know right where to go.
I know other cities have those, Chief. How effective are they? Do they work pretty well?
Very effective, yes. They've solved a lot of crimes.
Do they cover the whole city? Do you guys have square mileage covering the whole city?
We have about just under 2 miles of it covered. Like I said, I'm not going to give the locations because that'd defeat the purpose of it. But they're mounted all over the place. You would not know where they're at. So if you fire a gun, we're going to know where you're at.
And then I was at a 5th District meeting recently. Theirs is going up.
I think theirs goes live Wednesday, or
Yeah, this
is
week
it this
as well.
week? Yeah.
Some residents there talked about how the shootings might be right at the border. Do you communicate with Cleveland Police Department?
I certainly will. I did have communication, I believe it was last year, with the commander of one of the districts. I'll have to reach back out to him so we could share data.
How would that work if shot spotter goes off and it's maybe right at the border?
Everybody would be able to see it. Because like I said, you're going to be able to see it on the cruiser, inside the police car and the MDT. It'll actually show a pinpoint location, pretty much where the shot came from. It's proven technology. I applied for the grant for, I believe it was last year. It just took a while to get everything hooked up.
So, and I'm guessing the cost is the same, $65,000, $70,000?
The grant that I received for was $149,000. $100,000 of it is for the actual equipment, and then $49,000 would be for extra overtime to send officers out to monitor those areas.
And how long of are you guys on a contract for a year or two?
No, it's pretty much paid for now.
But How long will it be paid for before you need to find more funding for it?
I'm not even sure there's gonna be any more access for funding because we've already paid for everything up front. If anything comes down the road, we'll know. I can certainly reach out and let you know that. But when the actual grant was written, it was written for the specific program and the use of it.
Mr. Mayor, does this make you feel better, having the state patrol and this new technology coming into the city?
Absolutely. So as we look to be a modern city, we need the technology that is available and the resources that are available to help create that. I will state that part of the ShotSpotter grant, statistics were used from East Cleveland to help get that grant funded at the state level, right? Statistics that the sergeant talked about, so far as crashes, because it was a time when you would hear guns all over the place, or fireworks all over the place, and they're saying that the ShotSpotter can differentiate between fireworks and gunshots. So I am excited, right? Safety, and we always say safety first.
Is that the message that you want to get out to the residents of East Cleveland with these two new initiatives that you all are involved in?
Absolutely. I want the residents to feel safe traveling through their community. I want residents, or should I say travelers, right, coming through this community to feel safe, especially those who are law-abiding citizens, right? Now, for those of you who've been around for a while, people don't go through Cleveland Heights. They don't go through Shaker, right? Because of the reputation they had for safety, right? Safety. It's always safety first.
Have you gotten any pushback on ShotSpotter? I know that's been a thing in other bigger cities.
We haven't really been, the technology will start today. I've also seen some of the reports complaining about it. The ShotSpotter cannot tell who is firing the gun. What I mean by that is they don't know the race. They don't know if it's a male or a female. I've actually seen some reports from different ACLUs or whatever where, you know, it's just going to target certain individuals. That's kind of ridiculous if you think about it. I could be driving through the city painted green. It's not going to tell me that that's a green person that fired that shot. It's going to actually pinpoint where the shot's coming from. Officers can get there quicker. A lot of times residents won't call us. There was one incident, if I'm not mistaken, down in Cleveland where they solved a homicide because of ShotSpotter. I mean, it's technology.
Are there any limitations on using ShotSpotter data for, like in a courtroom with prosecutors?
I'd have to check on that because I don't have, I know that there's some of it that's not, it's not public record, some of it, because it's a proprietary system. I'd have to go through the company to find it out, but I can get that information for you if you want to reach back out to me.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Again, thank you all.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day.